Hi, and welcome to Noble Character Crafts. My name is Amy, and I am coming to you from a very windy eastern Nebraska where I live with my husband and our 5 children. You may be able to hear the wind outside today because it is extremely windy today. Today is Thursday, January 14th, 2021. This is a channel all about my crafty life, and today I have knitting, crocheting, and some sewing to share with you all. You can find me online on Instagram and Etsy at Noble Character Crafts, and you can get in contact with me through my email at noblecharactercrafts@yahoo.com. You can find links to the places that you can find me in the description box below, as well as the show notes for this episode. A huge welcome to any new or returning viewers. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope that you really enjoy this episode. I am hosting a year-long make-along on Instagram, which is the Make 9 2021 Mal, where you can join in on the Make 9 challenge, where you choose 9 projects that you would like to make throughout this year and post a grid of those projects on Instagram with the hashtag Make 9 2021 Mal. And anytime that you post a picture showing your progress or a finished object from that grid, you can also include that hashtag, and that will enter you to win a prize that I will draw periodically throughout the year. I'm also just wrapping up the Make 9 2020 Mal, and I will be giving away a few final prizes for last year's Make Along. So thank you so much to everybody that has continued to join in throughout 2020. There were many people that joined in at the very beginning in January, and then again this year and last year. I have encouraged people to join in whenever they want, because you are not required to finish everything on your board. In fact, you don't have to finish anything on your grid if you don't, if you're not able to. It's just for fun. It's just to get an idea of the things that we would like to make, but there's no pressure. I don't want this to be a stress producing a make along. It just to be fun to see what kinds of things people would like to make, and then to encourage one another along the way. All whips are included. You can include whips in your grids if you want to try to finish up projects. And then also any craft is also included. So if you are into other crafts besides knitting and crocheting, which is what I have on my personal grids, but you can make a grid with whatever craft you like to make. So it's a make along, which means any type of craft is included. So I would love to see the projects that you would like to make, and if you need any assistance making a grid, if that is unfamiliar territory to you, please don't hesitate to get in contact with me through my email or through Instagram, and I will be happy to help you make a grid so that you can participate in this make along. As I said, I do have some final prizes that I'm excited to give away for the Make 9 2020 Mal. The first one is this gorgeous project bag that I have been hanging on to for so many months. Trisha of Joy in the Stitches sent me this bag as a prize for the make along, and I just wanted to hang on to it for one of the final prizes because I just thought it was so special and beautiful. So it has this fun feather fabric on it, or leaf. I'm sorry, I thought they were feathers, but I guess they're leaves, aren't they? Anyway, beautiful leaf fabric. And my daughter and I were both gifted friendship bracelet kits for Christmas gifts from some family friends, which I thought was so fun. And I hadn't made friendship bracelets since I was a child. And so I made this little pole chain that kind of coordinates with the fabric in a chevron design. So I just thought that was kind of a fun little addition to add on to that bag. And in here I have the prize that Nicole sent over, which was so generous. Nicole is a viewer of the podcast, and she generously donated this little kit of scrappy minis. So there's 3 little mini skeins from Maker's Haven. This pink one is from Lolo Did It, and the multicolored one is from Leading Men Fiber Arts. And Nicole is also going to be sending you over a copy of the Rainbow Connection Socks by Kay Litton of Crazy Sock Lady Designs to go along with this little kit of scraps. So that's super fun. And then I've also just included a tiny little soap sample that I got from a company called The Hen and Her Chickens. It's folded over on this sticker, so I'm not sure if it's chicken or chickens. Oh, I'm sorry, from The Hen and Her Chicks. So just a cute little soap sample that I thought I would include with this little package. So I guess I can show you the inside lining is also coordinating and beautiful. So that is the first prize, and that is going off to Susan. On Instagram, her name is SueNick17. So congratulations, Susan. If you can please get in contact with me through my email or through Instagram and let me know your mailing address. And then also the best way that you would like to receive that free pattern from Crazy Sock Lady Designs, gifted by Nicole. Again, thank you so much, Nicole. We will be sure to get that all off to you, the prize and the pattern. So congratulations, Susan. The next prize is a project bag that I made. So here is this really fun unicorn, and it has birds, and is that it? Unicorns and birds? Yeah, I thought there was more. There's bunnies on there too. And pretty floral design. So this is a drawstring bag, and in here I have a sock set of yarn, but it's all packaged up still, so I'm going to leave it in the package. And I have my own personal set that I bought, so this is my own set, but it's just like this. I bought two sets exactly alike. So this is a sock set from the Yarn Brewery. It is on her classic sock base, and it is the Winter in the Big Woods sock set. So it comes with this beautiful, like, oh, I don't even know how to describe this. It's kind of like almost buttery, or not really. It's just this beautiful neutral base, and then it's got these gorgeous speckles on it. And it comes with this beautiful green mini. This is, the classic sock is a 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon yarn, and also comes with this beautiful progress keeper with a leaf, an acorn, and a green bead. And oh, I had also made a little friendship bracelet type thing that coordinates with this bag as well. So that's here. These were so much fun to make. And it's fun to pick out the little thread to coordinate with the fabric. Oh, I don't think I've ever showed off my new labels on an episode, but I got these new labels with my logo on them, and I'm super happy with them. They're on both sides, so if you end up folding it over, which is kind of fun to fold it over and use this as like a bucket, then you can still see the name right side up, which is fun. Anyway, and then I also have included some soap in this prize package as well. This is from a local to me goat farm that I visited earlier in 2020 with my kids on a field trip. And it's so it's goat soap, goat milk soap. This is fresh cut grass and cucumber puree scent, and it is so refreshing. It smells just like fresh cut grass. It really has that scent to it, so which is so nice in the winter to smell that smell. It's really refreshing. So anyway, that will go along with the prize as well. The winner for this prize is Danelle of 3 Strands Fiber. Congratulations, Danelle. Danelle also has a channel on YouTube here where she has a knitting podcast as well, and that is called My Gathering Basket, which I absolutely love. So she also is she knits and crochets and also does quilting. So it's beautiful to see the projects that she has made as well. So if you haven't checked out her channel, I'll link to that below as well. Congratulations, Danelle. Please get in contact with me and let me know your mailing address as well. And the third and final prize for this Make 9 2020 Make Along is another project bag that I made. I had just enough of this wintry fabric left over to squeeze out one more project bag. I had sold a few of these a couple, well, like earlier in 2020, like in December in 2020. Anyway, this is I just had enough to make one more bag using this beautiful wintry scene fabric. And I made another little friendship bracelet pull thing in some more neutral colors. And in here is another prize that Nicole sent to us to give away, and it was actually a prize that she had won through this podcast, but she was not able to use it because she has an allergy to alpaca yarn. So this is 250 yards each. They are sport weight skeins. They're 100 grams each, and they are 100% alpaca in a natural color. They're in this beautiful, deep, rich chocolate brown color, and they are from Rolling Wood Alpaca Farm. So I hope that the winner is able to use these and enjoy them. The winner is Mary, who is known as Mary_knits_a-lot on Instagram. Congratulations, Mary. I'm so happy that you won, and I'm happy to get this off in the mail to you as well. Oh, and I also included soap with your package, again from the Goat Farm. This one is in the lavender scent. So I hope that you really enjoy that as well. I am so excited that there were so many participants in the Make 9 2020 MAL, and already there are so many participants in the Make 9 2021 MAL, so I'm so excited to see that. Again, if you are a winner, please get in contact with me and let me know your address, and I'll be happy to get those off in the mail to you as soon as possible. All right, I think that is it for that, and I will get on to my finished objects. My first finished object I am wearing, and I'm so excited that I was able to get this finished already. I really didn't think I was going to be able to get it finished very quickly. I mean, I had made a comment in my last episode that if I kind of scheduled it out, and if I worked on it a little bit every day, I thought it would take me a couple of weeks to finish, and it did. So I'm just really pleased though that I was able to get it done, because it seemed like such a daunting feat to try to finish this shawl. This is called Danse Macabre. It is a beautiful design by Boo Knits. It is knit in lace weight 100% cotton yarn, or thread. I guess you could even call it thread instead of, yeah, it actually is called thread on here. I have 2 of these cakes of thread, and they are from Knit Picks. They're in the Curio line, and this is the Tea Rose colorway, and again, it is 100% cotton. There's 721 yards to 100 grams. And I actually still have this tiny little bit left from my cake of yarn. And then I also added beading to it, which was in the pattern. And the beads that I used are packaged like this. They are a Cousin brand DIY. They are a size 6 bead, and I just got these from Walmart. I had to use more than 1 tube, I know, but I think it was about 1.5 tubes, because I still have this much left over. I just put them in these little tins. This is from David's Tea. And so once I finish the tea, then I just use these tins for little beads and things, which is so handy. Anyway, so I have this all left over, and I thought if there's anybody out there that would be interested in making a shawl exactly like this or similar to it, let me know. I'd be more than happy to send this off to anybody who would be the beads and the extra thread. If anybody is interested in making a shawl using this, I will be happy to send this off to you as a gift from me to you. If you can just get in contact with me through my email. The first person to email me letting me know that you would like to have this extra thread and beads, I will be more than happy to send this off to you as a gift. So please let me know if you're interested, because I don't think that I have any use for it. I'm not going to be making another lace weight shawl in this color anyway, so I thought I would just gift it off to somebody else who would like to have it. So here it is, more close up. Last time I showed this on the last episode, I was about right here in the shawl, in this part. So there was still quite a bit of work that I had to put into it, but oh my goodness, I'm just so pleased with it. This is such a, the feel of this shawl is so nice in that it's, you know, so lightweight and cotton. You know, it'll be a shawl that I can wear even in the summertime because there's just no, it doesn't add warmth to your neck really. And obviously it's lace weight, so it's super lightweight and just so, I just love it. I'm so pleased with how it turned out. I followed the pattern exactly except for the bind off. It is supposed to have a picot bind off, and I did about 4 inches of the picot bind off, and it was so incredibly fiddly. It would have taken me, I am guessing, days to finish the picot bind off. And it just wasn't, I mean, I'm sure it would look awesome once it was blocked and pinned out, but I just didn't think it was worth it to me. I just made the decision to tink back to where I had started with the bind off, and I just did a standard loose bind off. And I am really happy that I did that because I couldn't make myself do that picot bind off that whole way. And I think that the edging is absolutely gorgeous the way that it is, and I'm so pleased with this shawl. So I think it was a good decision for me. I'm sure the shawl is beautiful with the picot bind off in the pictures that I've seen, but I just decided to eliminate that, and I'm happy with my final result here. So it's a really, you know, a nice, it's not overly big, but it's a nice size. It's beautiful wrapped around the back so that you can really see the lace beautifully. It's so pretty. I love the color too. It's kind of a, I don't really have any garments this color. I do have, you know, there's that color in this dress a little bit, so it coordinates with quite a bit of my wardrobe, but I don't have anything that's just this color, and I think it's so beautiful. So you can really have fun styling it different ways. The beads really add a nice weight to it too. I mean, it's lightweight, but like, I think it holds its place a little bit better with the beads, and it just, you know, the beads kind of hold it down so you can really see the lace. I don't know, I just think it's so cool. I've never done a beaded shawl before. I've never done a lace weight shawl before, so this was definitely new to me in a few different ways, and I'm so happy with it. I just think it's gorgeous. So yeah, super pleased. This is my first finished object off of my personal Make 9 board. I, again, this year made 2 Make 9 boards, one for the personal projects that I want to complete, and then I've made a second board with gift knits that I would like to make this year. So this is the first finished object off of my personal list. Let's see if I can get situated here. And it was a whip. It, like I said, it was, I showed you where I was, and I had just worked, I think, only a couple of rows from the time that I picked it up. Anyway, it had been hibernating for several months, and I picked it up and worked a couple of rows before I recorded my last episode. So this was a whip. It was about halfway done, I would guess. And anyway, I'm so happy that I was able to get it done. So pleased with it. So that was my first finished object. I have a few other ones. I mentioned these on my last episode as well. These are my first finished object from my Make 9 2021 gift list. These are a pair of socks for my youngest, who is 7. He picked out the color. He loves the color red. So this is my own hand-dyed yarn in my Scarlet colorway. It is on a fingering weight 75-25 superwash merino nylon blend yarn. And the pattern that I made is called The Shallow by Kari-Helene of Crazy Sock Lady Designs. definitely one of my favorite sock designers by far. I've definitely made more of her sock designs than anyone else's. So I modified the pattern a little bit because my son is 7 and pretty small, and I thought that the smallest size that the pattern comes with is a 56 stitch size, and I thought that those were going to be a little bit too big for him. So I played around. I first started off with, I think, 48 stitches. Let me find my notes for this. 44 stitches, and those were too small. So I ripped back and started over with 50 stitches. I had to modify the patterning on the front of the sock, which is a really nice, easy 8-row, is that right? 8-row pattern? Well, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head now. But I just eliminated, did I write a note about that? No, I can't remember. I skipped stitches 3 through 5 on the smallest chart. So on the small size chart, in order to get that stitch pattern to fit across the 25 stitches that I had on the front of the sock. I started off with the 1x1 twisted ribbing. I did 15 rows of that. And then like I said, I just took out those few stitches in the stitch pattern. And so I had 25 stitches on the front and the back. Since I had an uneven number of stitches on the back of the sock, I went ahead and did an eye of partridge heel flap, which is also a modification from the pattern, because an odd number of stitches just works a little bit easier with the eye of partridge heel since you're alternating every other row. I've done that once before, I believe, with a stitch count I had modified. I think it just seems like I have done that before, but anyway, it just worked out well since I had an odd number of stitches to do an eye of partridge heel flap, and I love the looks of that anyway. And yeah, it didn't take much yarn. I didn't weigh these, did I? No, but I only had two little minis of this yarn that I used for these socks, and I'm so happy with how they turned out. So I followed the pattern pretty much, other than those modifications. The stitch count on the toe was a little off. I think I reduced to 14 stitches before I Kitchenered the toes. But anyway, I used US 1 2.25 millimeter needles for these, but they worked up super quickly. My son was also very, very anxious to get these socks. He was asking me quite often, "Are they done yet, Mom? Are they done yet?" So that also motivated me to make these socks pretty quickly. He's already worn them. He put them on immediately after I finished them. I said, "Let me take a picture of them really quickly and then you can put them on." So he's already worn them. They've already been through the wash. And yeah, I'm really happy to have these for him, and he loves them so much. So I'm hopeful he'll get a lot of wear out of those before his little feet grow. All right, I was also able to finish my Christmas socks, so I'm so pleased to have these done as well. These are so much fun. I absolutely love how they turned out. There is a progress keeper from Ambah of Little Bitty Delights. It's a super cute one. Little cup of hot cocoa with a peppermint on it. That is where I was last time I showed these on an episode, which was 2 episodes ago. The yarn that I used is from Anna of Anna Knitter. We did an advent calendar swap and included some extra sock yarn in our swap. I specifically asked for this yarn that she had shown on her podcast. It comes in a set of 3 different colorways in Christmassy colors. They're all glittery, and they are from, I'll pronounce it the German way because it sounds a lot better, or I'll try. It is from a company called Wollboot, and I absolutely love how they turned out. I did a pretty long cuff 2x2 ribbing, and then very odd for me to do, it's very odd for me to do a plain stockinette sock, but I might be doing more of them because I just really enjoyed being able to pick these up, and obviously they were so mindless. I added in a contrast heel flap in just some bare gold stellina yarn that I had. And do I have the tag? I think I do. Here is the tag for this yarn. So here's the company. You cannot order this. Anna has said that you cannot order this overseas. It's just a German company. The colorway number is 6641. And the content is 73% wool, 24% polyamide, and 3% polyester. It is a fingering weight yarn, and I love them so much. Aren't they beautiful? And I knit on these as we were watching so many Christmas movies, and it was so much fun to work on these during the Christmas time. I didn't finish them until the 11th of January. So, but that's okay. I had several different Christmas gifts that I needed to get done in time for Christmas. So these were put on hold a little bit while I finished up those Christmas gifts, but I was so happy to get back to them and get them finished. But I probably will save them until next Christmas season. So they'll be nice and new for me to enjoy this upcoming year at Christmas time. So happy with those. I have one more finished object that I was able to whip up pretty quickly. In fact, I realized as I was on the final ribbing for this project that I hadn't even taken a progress picture of it. It just worked up pretty quickly, and I had so much fun working on it that I didn't even take any progress pictures of it. So this is another project off of my personal Make 9 2021 grid, and I am so happy with how it turned out, really. I did have a few glitches along the way though. This is called the L'Automne Cowl by Kari-Helene Rane. I think I probably messed up that pronunciation. My apologies for that, but that's my attempt at the name of this pattern and the designer's name. Anyway, this is knit using Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Sport Weight. So that is 100% Peruvian Highland wool, non-superwash. And the 4 colors that I used, I had just some scraps left over that I really wanted to try to use up. I did not use them up though. I still have leftovers of all 4 colors that I'm looking through patterns to try to figure out how I can use them up. The main color that I used for the ribbing is called Claret Heather. Is that right? Yes, Claret Heather. The light pink is called Blossom Heather. It's kind of hard to see, but there's like this deep brownish color, and that's called Merlot Heather. And the light gray is Dove Heather. So I started this off, I really wanted this to be a close fitting cowl that I could throw on to go outside and be warm and snugly in. I didn't want one that was too open that would lay down, and I also wanted the color work, to be seen easier. I thought if it was too big, it would kind of fall open and you'd see the inside of it more so, and I just didn't want, I wanted it really a close fitting cowl. And I also tend to be a loose knitter. So when I started this project, I decided to go down in needle size. I started off with a US 4 3.5 millimeter. It calls for a US 6 4 millimeter for the ribbing. So I went down to a 4, and then I worked the color work using the US 6 4 millimeter, whereas in the pattern it recommends you go up to a US 8 5 millimeter for the color work. And I got just a little ways into the snowflake pattern and put it on. I was just working in a small circular needles, and I decided to put on a larger one so I could try it on. It was just way too tight. So I started over, and then that time I also changed the ribbing. The pattern calls for just 1x1 ribbing regular, and I decided to do twisted ribbing instead. And then I used the recommended needles. So US 6 for the ribbing, 4 millimeter, and US 8 5 millimeter for the color work. And it fits me, but it's still a little bit too tight. So that's kind of unfortunate. I can kind of slide it on here. It fits me, but I don't know. It's just a little too snug. Going over my head, it's kind of, I mean, I could wear it. I might wear it. But I thought maybe my daughter would like it. So, but I wasn't sure, since this is 100% Peruvian Highland wool, it's not the softest wool. It's, you know, can be a little itchy if you're sensitive. And I just wasn't sure if she would be sensitive to that or not. So it was about halfway done when I thought maybe she would like it. So I just had her wear it for, I don't know, about 15 minutes. It was still on the needles. I just put it on a longer cord, and I said, just wear this for a little bit and tell me what you think. And she loved it. She goes, oh no, what would she say? She said, it feels a little itchy, but the itchiness is warm and cozy. So I was like, yes, I feel the same way actually. I can feel the prickles of wool a little bit, but it doesn't bother me. I just think it's really comforting, and she agreed. So her birthday is actually next week. She's going to be turning 10. And so I am thinking I will save this for her. She hasn't seen the heart pattern. So I think she's really going to like the pink hearts, because she's a very girly girl and she's only seen, you know, half of the design, and she really liked it already anyway. And she keeps asking about it. I actually had it blocking on my floor, but I had it inside out, so she couldn't really see the design. And she keeps asking me, is it dry? Is it dry? But I think I'm going to try to hopefully save it for her birthday, which is on Thursday. So she doesn't have to wait too long, but I think that'd be fun to gift it to her as a birthday present. So it's a finished object off of my personal Make 9 list, but it's a gift. I may, you know, borrow it from her once in a while, but it's going to be going to her. And I have a pattern that I have found that I want to try for myself, because I do really want to have a cowl that I can slip on to stay warm and cozy outside. So I'm not sure if I'll do that cowl for myself soon or not, but I am excited to make that at some point as well. I also eliminated, so another modification besides the twisted ribbing is that I also eliminated part of this section. So this color work pattern right here at the top was supposed to be repeated 2 more times. I actually did it. You're supposed to alternate the colors, so it would still have this checkered pattern, but then the squares in between are supposed to be the dove heather colorway, or the contrast color. And I did that, but I just really didn't like how it looked, and I thought it was already long enough. I knew it was going to be a gift for my daughter at that point, and so I just decided to rip back and just do that pattern with 1 repeat. So I skipped rows or rounds 65 through 71 of the chart. But then I just did the ribbing right away after that, and I did a tubular bind off, which was also not called for in the pattern, but I like that bind off. It gives it a really nice stretchy bind off. So that is another finished object I'm very pleased with, and I really am thinking that she'll enjoy this cowl as well. So she keeps forgetting what it's called. She keeps saying, what is that thing you're making for me called? I said, it's a cowl. It sounds like a mixture between a cow and a towel. I said, yeah, exactly. Okay, so on to my works in progress. After I finished this shawl, I got out my other shawl work in progress that had been in hibernation for several months, and I'm so excited to be back to work on this. This is another object off of my personal Make 9 2020 list, and it is a project that was on my Make 9 2020 list, and I started it but never finished it. It is the Kimba shawl by Ambah O'Brien. And I am enjoying this so much. It is such a treat to work on. I really, really love it. I showed it on my last episode just to show you how far where I was at in the process of, the progress of making this shawl. And this is a progress keeper marking where I was last time. This is just a progress keeper that I made myself. And I was in the section using the second color. I had already finished the first color, which I love so much. That is a beautiful colorway from Adriana, who had a yarn company called Strings to Stitches. And this is in the colorway It's Fall, y'all. To find my notes on this. I am all done using this colorway, and I'm so happy I have some extra because I just love it. And a lot of people don't like it when they have extras, but especially a fingering weight yarn, I love it when I have extras. So this is a sock weight, a fingering weight yarn, 75-25 blend. The second color that I am still using, and I don't have much left of it, this was not a full skein. This was my own hand-dyed yarn in the Sweetness colorway. So it's got some fun specks of deep plum and pink and brown in there. This is also on a fingering weight 75-25 blend. And I thought I have another like half skein of this colorway that I thought I was gonna need to use, but I don't think I'm gonna need to. I only have 2 more rows that I need to use this colorway for, so I think I'll be good. And I've changed my mind on the third colorway for this project, and I've started using it already. I was going to use a golden color that I had dyed myself, but I just decided that I didn't really like it. I decided to go with this gorgeous color from a Homespun house. This is called Whale Belly, and this is on a 100% non-superwash. Is that right? I think so. Non-superwash. I have the tags. 100% merino. I know, but is it non-superwash? It is. 100% non-superwash merino wool. Fingering weight again. And the needles I'm using are, I forgot to mention for this, I use the recommended needle size, which are the same for this shawl as they are for this shawl. So I started off with US 5 3.75 millimeter needles, and then at a certain point in this shawl, the designer tells you to switch to a US 6 4 millimeter needle, and I'm doing the same thing with this shawl. So I started off in the garter stitch area using a US 5 3.75 millimeter needle, and then once I started the chevroning pattern, then I went up to a US 6 4 millimeter. Since garter stitch is stretchier, I wanted the gauge to try to be as even as possible. So I have, just started using that third contrast color, and it just does this like striping pattern for a few rows before then it will go back into this lace work, I believe. The fourth color that I will be using, and this is the final color, is also a Homespun house on that same base, and this is in the colorway Homestead. So I think this is going to look really nice all together. I'm really so excited about this project. It's pretty well scrunched up on this shorter cable, but you can kind of get an idea of how it's looking, I think. I love it so much. I've enjoyed this so much. So my routine in the morning is that's the time when I get the biggest chunk of knitting time is first thing in the morning, because I wake up really early, and I put 2 hexagons into my Hexie Scrappy blanket, which I'm going to show you in a little bit. And then when I was working on this, I put in 2 rows every morning on this. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm putting in at least 2 rows, sometimes 4 rows on this before I have to get up and get going with my day. But I really have enjoyed that routine. So. Oh, and I forgot to mention the project bag that this is in is from Tanny Casey, and I also have a beautiful pin on here from Twill and Print. It's a row counter. So I'm not actually needing that on this pattern at this point anyway, but it does come in handy at some times. So I really love that project bag. I'll go ahead and show my Hexie Scrappy blanket now, since I mentioned that. This is a long-term scrappy blanket that I absolutely love, and as I mentioned, I work on it every day. I put 2 hexagons on it every morning. This is a pattern that I just came up with on my own. I do have a YouTube tutorial that goes over how to make this pattern. If you're interested, I will link to that in the description box below. And I am just finishing up squaring this project off. So I had originally been working in a hexagon shape, just adding hexagons around the shape to continue to keep the blanket in a hexagon shape. And once I got it to a large enough size, I've just now been working on squaring off the corners to make it more of a rectangular shape. And I am on my final corner. I should have folded it right so it would have been easy to find to show you which corner I'm on. This is it. I'm on my final corner, and tomorrow I will finish this corner. So it only needs 2 more hexagons. Here and here I will be adding 2 more hexagons, and then this corner will be complete. And then I'm just going to start adding some rows to the top and the bottom to make it a little longer. I'll go ahead and stand up so that you can see it in its entirety. All right, here it is. So you can kind of see that it's got pretty straight sides, and it's pretty long already, but it is more of a square. It's kind of a rectangle, but it's not as long as I would like it. Oh. If you've watched me show this off before, you know how much I absolutely love this project. It is my favorite by far. I have several different scrappy blankets, but this is my favorite. I just adore it so much. Anyway, I am using all fingering weight scraps. It takes the tiniest bit of scrap yarn, and I'm using a C 2.75 millimeter hook. And I crochet over all the ends, so there's no loose ends on the back. The back looks almost as beautiful as the front. It's just a little bit, you know, the stitches are a little bit different looking, I guess, but it's not much different. It's gorgeous on both sides, I think. So this project is so much fun, and if you like to crochet and have long-term projects, I highly recommend this pattern because I just absolutely love working on it. I love the colors in it. I love being able to use up all these tiny little scraps and making different color combinations, and I just think it's so much fun. And I'll be very sad when I finish it. But I'm thinking I might be able to finish it this year. We'll see. Time will tell. But once I finish it and I don't have it for my morning routine, I'm just going to be, maybe I'll just make another one. Who knows? We'll see. I will be kind of sad though when this is done, but I'm going to keep it for myself, and I'm going to keep it here in my bedroom so that it doesn't get wrecked. All right, my next work in progress is another blanket. It is being held in this large basket that I got from a thrift store, and I am making a blanket for my 8-year-old son, who requested a blanket to kind of take the place of his baby blanket, which is obviously very small in size, and he wants a larger crocheted blanket. So he picked out the yarn and he picked out the pattern. He watched me make the Neat Ripple pattern by Attic 24 in 2020, and he really liked that pattern and asked me to make one for him in the same pattern. So here it is. This is another project off of the Make 9 2021 gift list that I made, and this is such a fun pattern to work on. I love working on this so much, and I'm really enjoying the colors that he picked out. So I am using Knit Picks Mighty Stitch, which is worsted weight. It is 80% acrylic and 20% superwash wool. And I'm using, as you can see, I'm kind of gradiating the colors. So the first color I used is Navy, Celestial, Gulf Stream, and then I've just started Sky. And there's 10 colors total. I'm going to be, there's basically 4 blue colors, which you can see all of them here. And then there's 3 that are kind of a turquoise teal color. These are, the lightest one here is mint, the middle one is marina, and the darker one is spruce. So those will be the 3 next colors that I'll use. And then the final 3 colors are greens. The darkest one is ivy, the middle one is macaw, and the lighter one is alfalfa. I am using up as much as I can of these skeins in order to have a, I don't want to break the yarn in the middle of a row. So I'm able to make 11 rows in the pattern using up the yarn. And then I just have a tiny little ball left over. And I'm excited to be able to put these, I'm thinking I'll make a hat with all of these leftovers when I'm done, which I think will be really fun. And maybe I'll gift that to my son too, so that he can have a matching hat to go with his blanket. That would be fun. So anyway, I am loving working on this. This is another project that he is like my youngest son in that he is very anxious to get this blanket. So he keeps asking if it's done yet. I said no. He's just working on it. Today, while the kids were reading to me, I homeschool our kids, and they were reading to me, taking turns reading to me. And he comes in for his turn to read to me, and I said, I held it up to him, and I said, look how it's coming along. And he goes, is it done? I said, look at it. Do you think is it done? Well, no. I said, I still have 6 more colors to use. I said, go look in the basket. You can see all the other colors, remember? It needs to go into green. But he's so excited. He wants it done now. I'm using an H hook 5mm. These are clover hooks. I've been using all clover hooks with all of my projects lately, and I really enjoy them. All right, my final work in progress is in this beautiful bag that was sent to me as a surprise Christmas present from a viewer of the podcast. And I was just so surprised and touched to receive this gorgeous bag. It is an Anne of Green Gables inspired fabric. It is from Longview Creations. The viewer of the podcast purchased this bag from Longview Creations, and then also sent me this mini pack of Knit Picks Stroll Tonal in the Spring Fields colorway. And isn't that gorgeous? I love it so much. So the different colorways in here are Pearlescence, Eucalyptus, here, I'll do it this way, Coldstream, Mountain Pass, and Evergreen. Aren't they gorgeous? I love them so much. These are they're sock weight, so fingering weight yarn. They are 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. And there's 100 grams total, so 20 grams each. I love them so much. So this was a wonderful surprise. Thank you again so much, Denise. I so appreciate you sending this off to me. I have, you know what, I'll just do this right now while I have this out. Last time I forgot I had this skein of yarn that I received as a Christmas present from Anna Knitter in our Advent swap that we had done. This was my final day, Christmas Day gift. And I had it sitting right next to me last time I recorded an episode, and I got all done and there it was still sitting next to me, and I'd forgotten to share it. But actually, I'm kind of, in a way, glad that I had forgotten, because these were all sitting next to each other, and I think they look so gorgeous together. So I might use these together in a project. I think they look really, really nice together. So this beautiful skein was dyed by Anna, and I just thought that was so special, because when we had done our Advent swap, we said let's swap 10 gram minis for each day, and then 100 gram skein for our Christmas day. But that's all we had said. And I ended up dyeing some yarn for her, and then she sent me her hand-dyed yarn. And so I just thought that was great. I thought that was so nice. So anyway, I just love this beautiful watery blue color. It's so beautiful. This is on a 100% high twist merino from Australian Sheep, It is super wash and it's lovely. I can't wait to use it. So I don't know what I'm going to make yet though, but I really think these all have to go together in a project. They're so beautiful. Okay. In this gorgeous bag that I've been using since the day I received it in the mail, I had the cowl that I was knitting. I had that project in here, and then I started a new project and I wanted to keep using this beautiful bag. And I am working on another project from my Make 9 2021 gift list. This is a sweater I am making for my eldest son. And it's a bit risky. This is the Wyatt pattern by Michelle Wong, which I have knit 2 times before. But the last time that I think I made both of those sweaters in 2017, which was the first year that I learned how to knit in 2017. And anyway, I made one for my 8-year-old son now. Of course, he was 5 then. And then I also made one for my second oldest son, who at that time would have been 8. I made the size 10 size, which is the largest size in the pattern. And it turned out way too big. It was like 4 inches too long in the sleeves. It was huge. But now, I showed it off in my last episode, if you're interested in looking at that sweater at all. It's in a green color. Now that sweater is the right size to fit my 2 oldest boys. My 2 oldest boys are aged 12 and 11, and they are about the same size. And so I mentioned last time that my oldest son has been wearing my second oldest son's sweater, that green one that I've been making. And so I want to make him his own. I've made a few changes in the yarn selection. The yarn that he had picked online was a really bright purple, but I had this yarn in my stash and it is just a deeper purple, a really deep purple, but it still has that purple color, and he really liked this color. So we've decided to go with this instead, and I'm happy about that because this is 100% wool, and I'm just happier to work with it. The other yarn was acrylic, so I am really happy to work with this. This is the Lava colorway. It is Knit Picks Wool of the Andes. It's worsted weight. Again, it's 100% Peruvian Highland wool. There are 110 yards to 50 grams, and I have several skeins. I have enough to make a sweater for myself in this yarn. I think I have at least 12 skeins, so it'll be more than enough for this sweater. Okay, as I mentioned, I've made this sweater twice before. I didn't gauge swatch because I've made it twice before, and I'm just using the same needles that I did 3 years ago. And I figure, if anything, my gauge I know has loosened in 3 years. So I want it to be as big as possible. My son is 12, and honestly, for Christmas, I bought him a pair of pajamas, and instead of going with the boy size, I bought him a size small in men's. And so he's pretty big. I mean, he's not huge for a 12-year-old, I don't think, but when boys get to that size, a men's small size is a little large on him, but they're growing so much that I just wanted it to be big enough. I didn't really realize that the largest size for this sweater is a size 10. But as I said, he's able to wear that sweater that I made for my other son, and it fits him really nicely. It's not tight at all. It's still got a little wiggle room in it. Anyway, I'm using the same needles that I did when I made that sweater, and I'm figuring that my gauge is a little looser, and so it'll turn out even a little bit bigger than the green one that I made. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. I'm just doing it. So I'm using a US 6 4mm for the ribbing, and then I'll be going up to a US 8 5mm for the rest of the sweater. I decided to do the original pattern calls for a tubular cast on, and I didn't want to do that. I know I did that when I first made those sweaters, and it's a pain. I just didn't want to do it. I decided to do a cable cast on, which is a really nice stretchy cast on. And so that's what I've done. I've just cast on. I've only done a couple of rows of the 2x2 ribbing, but I'm excited to have this on the go. And I've also, I think last time I had said that I was going to be doing the patterning in this pattern. The pattern has a lot of texture. I don't know if you can see it very well in that picture. Here's a few more. And I was going to include the texture on this version. The last two sweaters that I've made using this pattern, I just did plain stockinette instead of the patterning. And I had thought I would do the patterning this time around, but I think I'm going to do stockinette again because I think that will give me the loosest gauge, I'm thinking. I just thought that the texture would probably tighten up the pattern a bit, and I don't want it to be tight. I want it to be as big as possible for my growing son. But of course, the nice thing about making a sweater for my oldest son is that I have 4 sons, and so, you know, my 2 oldest are the same size, but I do have 2 younger sons that are 7 and 8, and so they'll be able to wear it at some point, and even my daughter will be able to wear this as well. She's, like, as I said, going to be 10 soon, so if it turns out too small for him, worst case scenario, it will just go on to the younger children, so that's not a huge problem. Anyway, I'm also glad to have this be in stockinette because it'll be a really mindless, easy project, I think, that I can tote around with me lots of places. So anyway, I'm super happy to have that in the works. Okay, lastly, I have a few project bags that I've been working on, and I'm going to be putting them in my Etsy shop. Again, I'm not really sure when. I'll try again, I've said before, to try to coordinate it with the time that this video goes on YouTube. Sometimes YouTube takes so long to upload though. So sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. I have another long video this time, so it's probably going to take a long time to upload. But as I've said before, if you want to know when I put any bags into my shop, probably best to follow me on Instagram because I always post on there in a post and in my stories to let people know when my shop is updated. Anyway, I thought I would just go ahead and show a few of the project bags that I will be having in my shop. I have 3 different fabrics. The first one is this beautiful floral. I love this large print floral fabric. And they're all kind of a black background theme, all 3 fabrics that I'm putting in this shop update. They're all the same size. They're a nice size. You can easily fit 3 skeins in here or even more. I use these for sweaters a lot of times, this size bag. They all have, this has this nice light gray leafy lining, and they all have an interior pocket. They're all drawstring and have this handle on the outside. They are lined with lining, what is that called? They're interfaced. And then the bottom and coordinating fabric is this black duck cloth. Oh, and I have 6 of this fabric. This is the one I have the most of. The second one is another floral fabric. So here it is. And this one has a cream colored, same as the other lining, but a cream colored lining, or tan colored. Again, a pocket. I only have 3 of this fabric. And the final one is a polka dot fabric. So I think that one is fun. And inside I have this black and white chevron fabric. Again, it has a pocket. And I have 5 of these. So if you are interested, you can go ahead and hop over to my Etsy shop to check those out if they're still in there. Last time I had an update, they sold out so quickly. I was floored by that and so grateful. So thank you if you were one of those few that were able to pick up a project bag last time I had a shop update. I really appreciate that so much. So like I said, hopefully I can coordinate it so that if you're watching this, you can hop over to the Etsy shop, but no guarantees. And again, if you really want to know when I update my shop, follow me on Instagram and you can find out easiest over there. I think that's all I have to share with you all. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you really enjoyed this episode. If you did, please feel free to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I hope you all are doing really well. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.